Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and I wanted to talk about what was just mentioned on Calling All Devs, where Todd Pappy confirmed that they're not planning on allowing for agent smithing to be a thing in Star Citizen. Now, if you're unfamiliar with that concept, it's where you would be able to jump into your friend's ship, not as your character specifically, but be able to take control of an NPC that was already on board, which was really going to allow you to kind of meet up and play over great distances without having to take the time to move your body to do it. Now that has some limitations, as you're likely not going to be earning credits personally or, gaining experience, but it would have at least allowed you to play with your friends quickly. Todd said, though, that they felt that it would break the economy and the overall realistic feel that they were shooting for, so it's not planning on being part of the game right now, and that you're going to have to end up needing to travel to meet up with your friends. Now, I don't think that's a real problem or anything, but it does have a few pros and cons in my mind. On the pro side, I suppose it does do exactly what Todd said. It certainly feels more realistic to have to travel to meet up. But the economy thing I didn't really understand, because you weren't ever really going to be moving a ship full of goods, you're just taking control of another character. So maybe they meant that it would be too easy to help somebody fully crew a ship with really skilled real players? Though I'm not sure, because you can have really skilled NPCs, and there had to be an NPC there to really remote into that person anyway, so it's a little bit odd. The negatives of this, though, are pretty clear, and they're very player-focused on the impact. It's flat out going to make it harder for you to be able to meet up and play with your friends. And it's going to take planning and time, and for players that don't have a lot of spare time to play, it means that there are going to be more likely to be lone wolves, or the type of person that just ends up picking up contracts or playing with random people more often because they don't want to spend the hour out of their 2 that they get to play traveling to meet up with their friends. I also look at it from the organization leadership perspective and think, man, it's going to be a lot harder now to organize a large group of players, and you're no longer going to be able to wait hours for people to show up and go. You're going to really just have to plan ahead, which is fine. You have to kind of set the expectations for your organization anyways. But if you've ever managed a large clan like I have, it can already feel like you're herding cats in games that support easy ways for people to get together. So it's going to be kind of a pain in that view. Now, I think there's a few possible solutions that you could do, maybe like one of which is allow for players to hire an NPC or another player to move them and their ships while they're offline, so it takes minimal amount of effort on the player other than a little bit of time. So let's say you and Bob are talking on Wednesday and decide that on Thursday you want to do some bounty hunting together in Terra on Thursday. Well, if they would allow you to say, here's a contract to move me and my ship to Terra Prime by 8 p.m. on Thursday and leave it in a hangar for X amount of credits, and then an NPC or another player could, complete that for you and earn the credits, it helps to give you some options while you're offline. You've put that out there as you're logging off on Wednesday, and then you log in Thursday and you're in a hangar on Terra Prime. Now, the cost there, I think, would have to be fairly easy to swallow to not feel like almost like a huge friends tax. And you're going to have to really get into the reputation system and start looking at like the type of people that are doing these jobs and really decide on if you can trust them. And that trust becomes immensely important because you're not there to protect your ship. So you can almost see a company or an organization forming to specialize in something like this too, and I think that kind of makes some interesting aspects, assuming they allow for this type of gameplay, which I think they probably will. Now that gets even more interesting though if they allow you to do some sort of like integration with the website or the mobile application that makes it easy to make these types of requests even when you're away from your computer. Because then you could almost say like, oh, I talked to Jim at work and Jim's in my organization and we're going to go do some missions later tonight. Well, let's both log in and have somebody do it from our phones. Like that becomes kind of cool. I think for the most part, the idea of agent smithing was a convenience thing. One that they may need to reconsider to some extent, but as long as they give you alternatives in a different way, I think it's fine. So this isn't a game-breaking decision either. It's more of just one that I think we're going to need to come to learn to live with and adjust our gameplay accordingly. So I'm interested in your opinions on this. I think it's going to be pretty polarizing. So if you guys want to leave some comments in the descriptions, I'd love to see it. Otherwise, that's it for now. Stay tuned for a lot more coming soon, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Take care.